So like we are continuing our podcast episodes from CCW like directly. I'm really excited to host now Jordan Zivoder, who is with CMP Research. Jordan is a quant researcher.
Yep, that's right.
And I just saw you guys published this new Prism. I think you call it Prism. Yep. Like the researches like for different directions in the industry, like customer analytics, IVR, voice bots.
Yep, that's right.
And the third one was QA.
Yes, automated QA.
Yeah.
And then actually we're releasing chatbot this afternoon as well. Yep.
Okay. Well, welcome to the app.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell me, give me a bit more like sort of color on like what you guys do at CMP Research.
Yeah. So I'm the quantitative research lead. So a lot of what I do is I'm synthesizing data from all different sources to really bring data-driven decision-making to the customer contact leader. So we do a lot of research with frontline agents, with executives, with managers, really trying to understand what are those emerging trends as it relates to customer contact and the CX industry.
Surveys?
Yes, we do a lot of mostly surveys, but a lot of our research starts qualitative. So we're talking to leaders, especially events like this, when we're talking to decision makers, understanding what's really top of mind to them, what is keeping them up at night. So we take that information and then we go and quantify it with various surveys, again, with different audiences. Again, that could be the frontline agents, understanding what is most important to engaging them, to managers, understanding what are the skill gaps that they need to, manage a team that's in a remote environment, to the executive leaders and understanding, again, what are those top priorities as it relates to not only technology, but people and processes.
Yeah, I'm very curious about like what are the top 3 priorities? Like, how do you classify? So, I know it's like a very broad question.
No, it's interesting because every year we conduct an executive priority survey.
Okay.
And the priorities kind of change a little bit. So every year we might add something different. There's always a new buzzword. Last year was generative AI. Going into this year, you're hearing a lot of agentic AI, which will probably come into our survey later this year. But what we're seeing in the top priorities, number 1 is automating more processes. Number 2 is increasing customer adoption of self-service. Number 3 is improving customer analytics and insights. Number 4 priority is increasing more generative AI into the customer contact function. And then number 5, reducing costs. And how those have changed. So reducing costs was the number 6 priority a year ago. 2 years ago, it was the number 9 priority. So executives are really under more cost pressure than they were before. And that makes sense of why we're seeing automating more contacts, increasing adoption of self-service, improving customer analytics and insights, because the customer contact function, the executive specifically, wants to find ways to really reduce cost. Things that we saw that were the top priorities even 2 years ago, hiring talent, retaining, engaging agents. Those aren't as higher priorities this time around.
Industry is talking about so much about like replacing folks or like automation.
Yes.
How can hiring be a priority? Is that like how the logic works? Because like it might not reflect the reality.
No, exactly. And that's the one thing we try to ensure is that, yes, AI is here and there's a lot of uncertainty of like, oh, AI is going to take my job. But really, AI is here to really help supplement, make agents more efficient, being able to work with AI. Things like Agent Assist, for example. That's a great tool for agents to get up and running, speed to proficiency, right? Especially as a new agent, there's a lot that's going on and it takes time to get to a place where you can handle calls and contacts on your own. Agent Assist is accelerating that, but also feeling more confident on the job. So that's where we want to ensure that, yes, AI is here, but it's here to augment, really help the agents, not replace them. Because one other thing I'll add to that is that customers still want to interact with humans. Yes, self-service is important, but they still want to have the ability to talk to a live human. They might want a self-service for certain types of situations, but having access to a live agent is still important. So we're not.
What drives it? Like in your opinion, like why do they want to still have an option? Is it like the trust? Because it just doesn't deliver yet?
Yeah,
or is like there is a lot of like psychology related?
Well, I think going back. So technology has improved so much over the last year. So when we think about self-service technology, maybe 2 years ago, it wasn't the greatest. So a lot of people got burned by trying a new maybe chatbot that was very simple and it just wasn't able to solve their issue. So I think people carry that bias of I've tried to self-service in the past. I'm not going to try it again because it didn't work for me. So a lot of times what we're seeing is that if a customer had a poor self-service experience, they're less likely to try self-service again. But then there is also a generation factor where the younger generation is more willing to use self-service, whereas the older generation is a little bit more hesitant. But I think what we're seeing with COVID accelerated that digital savviness because everyone had to learn to do their job from home or communicate with loved ones over like FaceTime, for example.
Yeah.
But then now with Chat GPT, for example, I think now more customers are more willing to interact with a chatbot because they've tried Chat
It's
GPT.
funny actually. Like so, it all started with chat.
Oh yeah.
And then like they didn't trust it or like it just failed.
Yeah.
The voice was the backup.
Yeah.
Now they do the voice, and then like there is a voice bot.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I saw a movie where like, so I mean it's like the futuristic movie, like and so the customer talks to the voice bot and says like, hey, I need to talk to the supervisor.
Yes.
Because that's the backup, right? And then the supervisor is a bot as well.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
It's removed and removed.
Well, that reality is not far off.
That's how it's going to work, right?
Yeah, that's actually not far off. What we're seeing, there's bots that are specialists, and then there's bots that are more, I guess I should say generalists, that they can handle a wide variety. And that first bot you talk to might hand it off to that specialist. That might be what we're calling Bob the billing specialist, for example. So we're kind of seeing that already, but I still, humans still want to be able to interact with humans. But as I was mentioning earlier, bots of the past, even a year ago, are much different than what we're seeing today. And just AI is making those interactions more human.
Yeah.
So it's important to have a human element to it.
Yeah. Look, I'm a big fan of voice bots, voice AI in general. Like we do a lot of things. Actually, yeah, we have a lot of customers in that space. But like, I'm very curious about your opinion on this, the voice AI first sort of approach, where like voice bot first approach, and then there is AI that powers humans, right?
Yes.
So there are two camps, not camps. It's just there are two different sort of technologies in the market, right? And like one opinion that I keep hearing is that it's so much more reliable to sort of adopt the human empowerment because the risks are way lower with that.
Yeah.
Because there is a human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You make them better, you empower them, but the risk of deployment for like executives is so much lower because the risk of deploying like something in the customer facing that is automated, like I don't, how do you manage that? What's your do you see anything?
Yes,
really the case?
Yeah. So a lot of times, like you said, there's a kind of that. What is your appetite for risk? Because if you were to roll out something like a chatbot or a voice bot to your customers, there is a lot of risk because if that goes wrong, and then you fix it, and then you try to roll it back out to your customers, there's going to be a high chance that they're not going to try it because they got burned by it. So you have to be really sure that what you're rolling out, you've tested, you've validated it, and it's going to have the right responses. But what we see a lot of times is that the safest bet is, well, why not roll that out to your employees first? So like an agent assist, for example, a lot of times that is kind of a similar technology on the back end, and the agent assist. So you're getting an agent can be on the side, asking the, assist a question so it gets the right answer. That's a good place that's safe because you're not affecting the customer experience. Yes, the agent might get a wrong response and maybe they don't use it because they've had that experience, but it is much safer to really test AI, implement it on the employee side, kind of understand where is the data coming from? Do you even have the right data in place? Is it organized? Do you have it, do you have enough data? The knowledge base.
It's like one thing I didn't realize before until we started getting into agent assist and voice bots.
Yeah.
Is that there is so much commonality actually in terms of knowledge base.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the know, so one funny thing is that so we have a voice bot. I mean, AI agent deployed in our support. So as part of our tests. One thing we realized that is the first time that our help desk information, right, which is online, we have to. There is a strong incentive to keep it updated, right?
Yeah.
Because they're in the past, it was like people who were using that. Now
Yeah.
there is a bot that is used. So there is a second user.
Yeah.
And apparently when something is wrong in that help desk,
Yep.
the response of the bot is going to be wrong.
Exactly.
Right? So like, and we said like, okay, well, let's deploy Agent Assist for our support team so that, and motivate them to keep updating the help desk, right? So
Yeah.
I think this is the first time in the history that you have like real motivation to go and update.
No, it's very important because you can have the most sophisticated models, but you don't have the right data. So it all relies on the data that you have. But the great thing is that many forget that the customer contact function is the most richest source of information and insights. Every conversation is a data point. Yeah. And I think that's where some are doing a great job of utilizing that every conversation, every chat, and turning that into usable data so that you can pair up question and answers. But many are failing to leverage all the data that they're getting every day to update their knowledge bases.
Hard to do that technologically, but it's definitely possible. Like you could take all these conversations and auto-generate all the knowledge base, right?
Yeah.
And it would be up to date. Like, guess what, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to do, of course, but definitely like a idea.
One other note I should mention about knowledge bases is that with the advent of AI, we're also kind of seeing this autonomous loop. As I mentioned, is that there's AI out there that can look into your current knowledge bases and see, okay, I just evaluated this conversation. This was a question by one of your customers, and this was an answer by an agent. I don't see it in your current knowledge base. I'm going to put it in there.
Yeah.
So now there's starting to see this autonomous loop that where AI can actually supplement your knowledge base, so that next time maybe your chatbot is going to answer that question, it has the ability to answer the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one last question, Jordan. Like you said that you survey the executives, right? You said like those are the 4 priorities, and then you also said that you did survey for like the managers, for other folks in the organization. Was there a gap in priorities and understanding of the reality?
Yeah. So a lot of times when we survey the frontline agents, what they're saying might not always, like we're not asking them like what are their priorities necessarily, but what's interesting is we do what we call like a gap analysis. So as it pertains to frontline agents, we ask them, what is most important to you to be satisfied? And what we found out, the top 3 drivers are in this order: managers, flexibility, and career development. Now, when we asked our executives what they thought was the number 1 driver of agent satisfaction, it was culture. They thought culture was the number 1 driver. So there's that misalignment of what executives.
Is it the same? Maybe like
it's a little, yeah. There's a when we think of culture, like when we think of culture, it's more of like the fun, like kind of there's like big C culture and little C culture, like more of like the things like the parties, like kind of like trying to make things more, I guess, fun and enjoyable. But what agents, what really matters is having a great manager, being able to have work-life flexibility and career development. So a lot of times when we do our research, we want to understand what the executives think is important versus, again, when it relates to agents, what do they find most important? And in this case is around agent engagement. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, thanks, Jordan, so much for coming to the podcast, and I hope you enjoy the expo.
Yeah, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it. Yeah.